All right, guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you. This is for a late night review of this week's episode of SmackDown Live from the May 29th, 2018 edition of SmackDown Live. This took place in Raleigh, North Carolina tonight. I'm sorry again that I'm, reviewing this show kind of late. But again, I went out to visit some friends tonight, so that's why I didn't catch SmackDown until I got home. I just got done, checking out, the show and the highlights mainly and whatnot. And overall, once again, just another spectacular show. I mean, I should say spectacular because it wasn't like like a legendary show, but just another show that to me, pretty much everything felt like it mattered, and everything got me more intrigued to see what was next. Like it kept me wanting to see, more coming from the SmackDown Live roster. Now, actually, also where I started this review, I also took a quick look at Deluxe Man's live review of both SmackDown and 205 Live. I'll review 205 Live tomorrow as usual. And he found out, I forgot who he said he was talking with. They're talking about the whole Fire Road Dogg thing. And he was talking about how, if Road Dogg still is ready for SmackDown, he must be doing something right all of a sudden. But then whoever he was talking to, found a leaked script from last night's edition of Raw. And he was talking about the B Team barbecue, Memorial Day barbecue segment that, of course, we all know was a flop. Not as bad as the Bobby Lashley sisters thing, but it was a flop. And the producers for that segment said Dean Malenko and Brian James, who we all know is the Road Dogg, Jesse James. So it is true. Road Dogg is writing for Raw now. I don't know if he's still writing for SmackDown, but Road Dogg's writing for Raw. I don't know why. Who knows what it is? I mean, I'd be interested now to see if he is ready for SmackDown or if somebody else is. But what do we know? It may be the case. It may not be the case. But I just want to get that out there real quick also. But yeah, because again, this episode of SmackDown, I mean, I don't know if it's been just the depth of the roster now that from the superstar shakeup, or if it's just it's just again the better writing team's also back on there. But SmackDown, just like I don't think it's quite on the level that it was in 2016, like from when the brand split came back till Road Dogg took over after WrestleMania 33. But I definitely think it's definitely getting back on that track. And, I'm enjoying it. If SmackDown would come back here to Pittsburgh sometime over the next year or so, I'd gladly go. I wouldn't hesitate and go. I'm still worried about going to Extreme Rules because of, how bad the booking is, especially on the Raw side. But I got to give it and say that right now, it would be a good time to go watch SmackDown if it was in your area. I highly do recommend it. Live chat. Nobody in the live chat, that's fine. But yeah, let's talk about this show and see what all went down. We started off with Samoa Joe making his way out. He gets a ladder out from under the ring and he sets it up and he takes the Money in the Bank briefcase. He gets on a microphone and says it's in biblical text that the ladder represents the connection between the earth and the heavens. And when Jacob looked upon his ladder, angels descended from above, smiling and offering salvation. But his version is very, very different. There is no salvation. There are no smiling angels, although after Money in the Bank, he'll be smiling just like he is right now. Joe will have secured his opportunity, and after which he'll unleash a campaign of anxiety and fear that will shake SmackDown to its very core. And tonight, he proves to our beloved Daniel Bryan that there are things far worse than forced retirement. In fact, if his eco-friendly, tree-hugging sensibilities will allow it, he wants Bryan to call his wife and tell his daughter a story, telling her that he will be home from Money in the Bank, but he won't be the same man. No, he'll be a man with the eyes of someone who drenched in regret, failure, and missed opportunity. And when she looks up and asks her mother who did it, she says he was a very, very bad man, and his name was Samoa Joe. But then out came Daniel Bryan. Another point here also been brought to me recently, well, not to me, but I've also noticed people talking about on Twitter or other streams also. On Raw, they have a ton of baby faces coming out smiling. Well, Daniel Bryan's a babyface, right? He didn't come out smiling, as he shouldn't have been smiling. He comes out and says there are certain lines you don't cross, and he has a vision of his own, and it goes like this. You mention his wife or daughter one more time, and he'll break your leg. We all know where this goes, and Bryan doesn't want to wait for the main event. Let's fight right now. So Joe takes down the ladder, and Bryan's about to get into the ring, but then Big Cass cuts them off, and he comes out. He's on a crutch. He accuses Bryan and Joe being children on the playground, and he wouldn't expect anything else from the shrimp and the blimp. The fact is, that should be his money in the bank opportunity, and this second chance crap has got to stop. He spoke to Paige and he got the match called off. Instead, what will happen is Cass will wrestle Samoa Joe for the final spot Money in the Bank when he's cleared. And will he be cleared? I actually already am. And he starts throwing his crutch. Bryan ducks and Joe takes it, and then Bryan starts beating the crap out of Big Cass, but Cass then whips Bryan into the ladder. He follows up by clobbering both men with the briefcase. He holds the briefcase high above. So at first it looked like Big Cass was going to get the opportunity for the match instead of Samoa Joe, but it was later on announced that it would be a triple threat match for the briefcase, which was fine with me since, obviously Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe is a match that should not be wasted on paper. It should be, a SummerSlam or WrestleMania worthy match, in my honest opinion. So them holding it off, I'm fine with it. And also, thank goodness at least Cass is okay, because I did hear rumors he may have needed another knee surgery. It was going to be out for 6 more months, which would not have been good for his career. I feel like that could have definitely put him on borrowed time pretty much, and he could have been, on his way, out the door pretty much. Because I do think he has the potential. I know Big Cass has a single potential and to be a good heel. I think he's working really well so far as a heel with the stuff he's been given. And of course, a better right on SmackDown Live. I think he's really going to thrive in this singles push. I think so. So that was the opening segment. I was interested in it. I thought it was good. We then have Nakamura walking backstage with numbers, counting and tossing them on the ground until he gets to 10, which he tears that in half. We have Paige walking around backstage with a crew member telling him to come to her if there are any issues whatsoever when Absolution rolls up. They say she's under a lot of pressure and makes mistakes, giving people that don't deserve opportunities like Asuka. Paige brings up the undefeated streak, and Mandy Rose and Sonya ask what she's done lately and say they want the opportunity. So Paige gives them one, and she has Mandy fight in a match against Asuka later on tonight. So I'm like, okay, fair game right there. Paige keeps walking and runs into Renee Young. She says Big Cass didn't speak to her, but she did love the passion and the fire because whoever wins the contract will change their life forever. Cass is cleared. Bryan earned a second chance, so the only fair way to do it is make it a triple threat match. So that's, again, when it was pretty much made a triple threat match for the Money in the Bank qualifying spot for the last match. What's up, Tia Kupar? Pretty good about yourself, man. I hope you had a good Memorial Day as well. Getting started reviews late. I just went out and visited friends tonight. So that's why I caught SmackDown later on. But I'm getting this review done right now. Thank you for joining me. But then we had a match for Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Ty Dillinger. Throughout the match, Nakamura obviously was trying to get Ty down for the count of 10. Really, trying to make himself looking dominant since, he's going to be doing a last man stand match with AJ Styles. Yeah, it does kind of still have me scratch my head a little bit with being a last man stand match because I feel like the same thing as the no DQ thing could happen. It could be a double, count out victory pretty much, or a double count or a draw. or that's why I would rather have stipulation where there can't be a no contest or whatnot. But even though also the fact that I would have liked somebody else to be in this position and not Ty Dillinger, since I think Ty deserves to be booked better than just to be getting the crap beat out of him. Even though I like the moment where Nakamura thought he had Dillinger down for a 10 count. When he gets to 9, he gets up and goes 10, pretty much. I like that moment, but it would have been nice to see somebody else get this. But I think it did this match itself. It was more of a match. It was. Afterwards he need Dillinger in the back of the head with another Kinshasa. So I think it definitely it at least is making Nakamura look like a serious threat to AJ. He beat him recently with the Mind Games a couple weeks ago on SmackDown again, even though I don't know why they gave the match away already on SmackDown. But then with him choosing the last man standing, the beatdown he had on him last week and whatnot, I think it is definitely, at least, helping to build Nakamura as a more serious threat. I feel like he's definitely more, a little more interesting and more, being able to take it seriously now with this type of booking for him than they were at first, the beginning of this feud in general. Which, yes, I do still agree that, they're definitely, this feud did not need to be a feud that had to, have, so many matches involved to it. If they're going to do another match, I'd say maybe wait till SummerSlam they should have done and try to build it throughout the summer. Or even, insert somebody to the championship picture, like a triple threat or something like that. And have, Nakamura Styles find a cellular score at SummerSlam. But I did think, definitely, they're helping establish Shinsuke more as a heel. I mean, I still would want to know, what was the real reason why, Nakamura has done what he's done. I thought we're going to get that soon, but I feel like we are getting somewhere. And again, despite this being just pretty much, not a complete squash, but kind of a squash for Shinsuke Nakamura on Ty Dillinger, I think, Nakamura still came away with some more heel momentum to him as well, winning this last man standing match. But that was pretty much what happened there. Afterwards, though, AJ was interviewed backstage, and he said he saw what Nakamura did to Ty, and he remembers the knee from last week. Somewhere down the line, something inside Shinsuke snapped, and now he's more dangerous than he's ever been, which it is true. He is being established as a more dangerous threat, in my honest opinion. He picked up stipulation that clearly benefits him as a striker, and this is the story of AJ's life. He walks into the ring with an opponent who thinks he has an advantage and underestimates him. He fights smarter, harder than guys that are bigger and stronger, and he's the last man to leave the gym or arena, or the last man to back down from a challenge. I lay the bank. She's going to tear everything he's built, but when it's all said and done, the last man standing will be the phenomenal AJ Styles. So then we had this. Now, usually, again, segments like this, I'm not usually a big fan of. But this was actually kind of fun. So Lana and Naomi had a dance-off, pretty much. They both actually are good dancers, so I think that's what, got the crowd behind it. And plus also, Lana's probably, a big deal. People want to see her succeed. Naomi also, is, definitely a respectable, not one of the biggest favorites, I'd say, on the women in the women's division, but she's definitely somebody, people have definitely earned respect. I mean, I have too. I mean, I do definitely see that Naomi is a little bit of an underutilized talent, but I feel like she has at least been given some opportunities on SmackDown a little bit more than some Becky Lynch or Lana has, though. But I do respect the stuff that Naomi has been able to do on SmackDown Live also. So the dance off, if it was not the PG era, I'm sure they would have gone a lot further with it, especially with Lana. It did especially lead to a little bit of like a beatdown between Lana and Naomi and between Rusev Day, which, kind of bothered me a little bit at first because, they're just going back and forth. 1 week Rusev Day's being treated like a babyface team. Then next week they're treated like heels and whatnot. So I wish they would just, finally just turn to face because people want to root for them. They're entertaining. They're awesome. They love them. Again, whoever's right for SmackDown now, though, could at least, make things more interesting. It did set up, though, for a 6-man tag next week between all 3 members of Rusev Day, Rusev, Aiden English, and Lana taking on the Usos and Naomi. So with better writing, I do trust that maybe they will pull the trigger and put over Rusev Day looking strong in a mixed six-man tag match next week, as I hope so that would happen. But speaking of six-man tag matches, we didn't have this six-man tag match. It was the New Day, all three members, taking on a team of The Miz and The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. Wow. This match was a lot of fun. This match is another match if I would do like a end of the year hidden gems video at the end of this year, this would be another one of these matches I think, could be at least a hidden gem, if not definitely one of the best tag matches of the year. This match was fun. I loved it. It was, New Day at its best, the high flying, just all the energy going all over the place. For a while, Xavier Woods was, getting some action in on Cesaro and Sheamus, stuff that I just never really imagined Xavier Woods doing with his high flying quick style. Because yes, before, Xavier Woods kept saying had improved a lot in the ring, but I still felt he wasn't like, one of the flashiest in the ring. But I think this, of all performances Xavier Woods has had, this is one of his best. Kofi, of course, his high flying styles, his risk taking moves, and of course Big E as well. Not being tricked by the mind games and whatnot, looking like the dominating one, and him being the one to hit the big ending and get the victory for the New Day, as giving them more momentum going into Money in the Bank. And it's still not decided for sure yet which member of the New Day will represent their team. But it just really feels like something's going to happen with New Day, whether they're going to win the Money in the Bank contract or, maybe they'll split up. If whoever doesn't win, maybe it'll cause, a breakup between the New Day. Because, I know a lot of people definitely think, the New Day's gimmick has definitely gone flat. It's definitely, they've done all they can with it, and then I feel like you're just going in circles doing the same thing with it, which I kind of feel that's some of the case also. But either way, when the day does come when they split up the New Day, which I feel like maybe coming soon, because, Big E's ready for a singles push. I've definitely always been a fan of Big E. I always felt he had great potential as a single star. Kofi, could pull off a world championship run someday, but I definitely he's still a solid mid-card addition. Xavier Woods also is in the same boat as Kofi, I feel. He's improved so much. If it wasn't for this team getting together, and of course, going on a heel run for also to get over with the crowd like they did, if they would have just kept the baby faces they were when they first started, they just, they were just nothing but a bunch of clowns when they first started. But they've come a long way. So I think, they're definitely trying to bring the best out of them right now, so that when that split happens, it will feel like these guys are ready to be back on their own again, pretty much. But again, this six-man tag match, a lot of fun. I definitely recommend going back and watching it if you have not done so yet. Watch this tag match between the New Day and The Miz and The Bar. Just a fun match overall. Again, Big E hits a big ending on Miz to get the win. Let's see here. Doing well. Hope you had fun. Yes, I did. They could save Joe versus Bryan for WrestleMania, definitely. And yes, the six-man tag was badass, Dakota. By the way, you'll love the Cruiserweight Championship match. It went for about 30 minutes. It was the best WWE match all week. I did hear that was a good match. I didn't get to watch it yet, though. Dakota, I will have to check it out. Thank you for the heads up. Even the crowd chanted, "This is awesome," during 205 Live. Well, that's definitely a great way to do so. Because because I know 205 Live does suffer from a tired out crowd, but then again, when we had a good show like tonight, the crowd's not gonna be tired out. I just still wonder what's gonna happen whenever SmackDown moves to Fox, if the rumors are true about them going to Fridays now. If 205 Live get moved also, or they may have 205 Live there also. You never know. Surprised WWE hasn't released a New Day DVD set yet. Me too, actually. I'm sure they will sometime, because they're definitely very established, stable that they've been over the past several years. 2014, I believe it was, when they were forward, I believe it was. Yeah, I definitely agree. They should have a DVD set on them. Thanks for joining in, Dakota. Also, I definitely have to check out that Cruiserweight title match before I do my 205 Live review tomorrow. Then we had this backstage interview with Gallows and Anderson about the number one contendership. Gallows asks us to look at Carl Abs Anderson, who is absolutely shredded. Carl says his hot Asian wife loves them and they're in the best shape of their careers and will do whatever it takes. Look at it. They buried the hatchet with the Usos, kick back a couple brewskis, and talk strategy, of course. And they're going to beat the Bludgeon Brothers like they're a couple of, what's the word? They're about to say nerds again. But, of course, the Bludgeon Brothers interrupted over TV, and Harper says the parade will infect the descent, souls corrupted, and to prepare yourselves for them, pretty much. So just another promo there. Again, I'm definitely hoping that at least this tag title shot against the Bludgeon Brothers will start to get the club back on track. They're starting to seem a little bit more better than they were, of course, on Raw. I still thought the move, them coming to SmackDown, was definitely a good idea. I mean, it doesn't look like, they're going to, be back with AJ anytime soon. Every time they see what they start a stable with either AJ or Finn, they immediately just split them up again. But I think this could at least help them a little bit. They're always looking like a little bit better so far, I'd say, but still not back on track. They were when they first came into the WWE in 2016. But maybe it can still work. So I'm definitely still interested in seeing where it goes with, the New Day. I mean, not New Day, the Bludgeon Brothers and the Good Brothers. So we'll see about that. I hope WWE brings in Will Ospreay. I never heard of him, but hopefully he's a good talent. And it's about time he brought up his hot Asian wife. Oh, yes, Carl has to brag about his hot Asian wife. Pretty jealous of you, Carl. So then the next match was Asuka versus Mandy Rose. Before the match, though, Sonya Deville came out and attacked Asuka from behind, but she left the ring. So, this whole thing continuing, with Sonya and Mandy still trying to work together, even though Paige is trying to get them to learn to not do that pretty much and just worry about themselves pretty much, which should be the case. Of course, Mandy Rose was out there looking fine as hell. I am sorry, but Mandy Rose, you're slowly rising up my scale. Probably one of the better looking ones on the main roster right now, especially that entrance. Ooh, man. So I say, whoa, when you see Mandy Rose, pretty much. But the match wasn't really, it wasn't long, but wasn't too short either. Asuka obviously got the better of, Mandy Rose, and she won. Carmella, though, was on commentary. And then after the match, though, Carmella, didn't, just stay back, stayed away from Asuka. She got in the ring and got in the face of Asuka, held the championship, showing confidence, which I was surprised by that, but that was okay. I do kind of hope, though, further down the line, I mean, I still do think it is a little too soon to give Asuka another title shot. I will be honest and say that, because I feel like, they should develop some other type of character for her since she's no longer about the undefeated streak. She lost at WrestleMania, but she still looks strong in the loss to Charlotte in that match that so far is my women's match of the year, Charlotte versus Asuka at WrestleMania 34. But I do kind of hope at least also they bring up the fact that even though Asuka was undefeated, technically Carmella did win a match involving Asuka, and that was that number one contenders battle royale for the NXT Women's Championship when Carmella won the opportunity to face Bayley for the title before Asuka was then given the opportunity at TakeOver Dallas. So I don't know. I mean, I was definitely surprised to see, Carmella get into the ring and, not be shown that she's scared of Asuka. So we'll see what happens down the line. Asuka beats Mandy Rose. We get Carmella to stare afterwards at 4. And speaking of the women, backstage, we have Charlotte and Becky hanging out. Charlotte says Asuka's going to win the titles. She's going to win the contract. They'll have a WrestleMania rematch. Becky just sees a wall and says she needs to look a little more to the left. And first, tells Charlotte to keep looking until she sees her. She said the actual winner is going to be her at Money in the Bank. They're friends, but the only way to win is to make like Han and fly solo. Last year, she was fingertips away. This year, nothing will stop her, not even Charlotte. Charlotte says that makes it hard because she does want Becky to win, but she needs to win her title back, and that means she's going to have to win. So Becky says, with all due respect, and says this is her ring. And then Paige rolls up And she says, I admire your competitive spirit. It reminds them of Team PCB, which, of course, that whole thing was never really went over as good as it wanted to. The whole thing with the 3 teams was more so just about Nikki Bella came to the longest reigning Divas title, even though it was an excuse to have Nikki not defend her title again until the day she tied the record, which that still ticked me off that they haven't defend again until the day she tied the record of a streak they're obviously trying to spite with John Cena's girlfriend at the time. But she said a great idea. She says it's tea time, and then she pretty much just putting her finger out, pretending to be tea time and whatnot, which was confusing to me. I didn't quite understand that part at all. But then they announced that next week it was going to be Becky versus Charlotte next week. So that should be a pretty good match, definitely, for the show. It gets more psyched for a women's division and see what happens there, leading up to Money in the Bank between the two of them. So that was a good segment. It was just a little weird with the whole tea time thing, though. We had commentary hyping us up, though, for Buddy Murphy versus Cedric Alexander for the Cruiserweight title on 205 Live. And then we also got an announcement for next week in the mixed tag match of Rusev Day and the Usos and Naomi. We didn't see Andrade Cien Almas leaving his locker room, and Sin Cara rolls up and greets him with a hug and says, good to see you, as apparently they do have a history together. Zelina Vega rolls up and asks who he is and what he's doing, and Sin Cara says that him and Andrade go way back, but Zelina says that Andrade is the future of NXT, and nobody cares about Sin Cara, which, no offense, is kind of true. And Sin Cara asks Almas if she's serious, and he replies in Spanish that it is beyond I watch a lot of Lucha Libre and have picked up a word here and there level of comprehension, pretty much. So I don't know if we're going to be getting like a mini feud between these two or whatnot. Just another way to help put Andrade over, because I just hope they do not ruin him on main roster. But again, if the writing is better on SmackDown Live, I have no problem with Andrade being on SmackDown, of course, at all whatsoever. Let's see here. Ospreay versus Bryan. We'll see how that goes. Ospreay is New Japan junior weight champion. He is more of an athletic than Ricochet. Oh, wow. That's a lot for there. Now, Mike, keep it PG. Sorry, I got too carried with the Mandy Rose stuff. I know what to get Mike for Christmas now. Thanks, Tia Couponer. I'm going to rent him Mandy Rose. Oh, gosh, guys. Could do Charlotte versus Asuka for SummerSlam. Wouldn't mind that rematch. Apparently, Reigns was off Raw due to nagging injuries. Oh, geez. Do you think Mandy Rose will fit his Christmas stocking? All right, guys. Very funny. I hope so. We don't have to wrap her up. He told me not to hug him. Oh, goodness. Guys, he cracked me up. But then we had our main event, though. It was a triple threat match. Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe. The winner will be the last spot in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I thought it was a good match. Again, having these three go at it. Again, it did hold off, on what we could go with Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe. But again, that's a match meant for, a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam or WrestleMania. And I think it ended quite right, with, Bryan getting the offense in there where he needed to be and whatnot. About to take out Big Cass. He did with the running knee. But then Joe came out of nowhere and put the coquina clutch on him, and Bryan fought and tried to get out of it, but it wasn't enough, as Joe, rightfully so, got Bryan to pass out to the coquina clutch. Joe won. Of course, Big Cass felt that, Bryan cost him his opportunity, so he beat down on Daniel Bryan. So I guess this means we're getting another match between Bryan and Cass at Money in the Bank. Could be. I'm still, cool with this feud, as, I feel like, it is going to help elevate Bryan to get to the Miz eventually down the line. We'll see. But Joe wins. He's going to Money in the Bank, as I felt he should. So he should be. I mean, I still, wasn't happy that he lost to Roman Reigns at Backlash, but now it's acting like this match didn't need to happen in the first place. So what do I know? Joe's on his own on SmackDown now. He's doing his own thing. He'll probably be all right. But that's how we went off the air, though. With Samoa Joe winning, and he's going to Money in the Bank, and then Cass beat him down pretty much to continue that feud as well. But so yeah, that is SmackDown Live tonight. Again, another show that everything's felt like it mattered to me. Was it perfect? Wasn't perfect, but I felt that it was another strong show like last week's show. Check the polls here on Twitter really quick here. What grade would you give SmackDown Live? I had 12 votes. 25% said A, 42% said B, 17% said C, and 16% said D or lower. And then what show did you enjoy more this week, Raw or SmackDown Live? 9 votes, 22% said Raw, 78% said SmackDown Live. I do agree. SmackDown was so much better than Raw this week, by far, so much better. And for my grade for this week's SmackDown Live, I'm giving it an A minus. Another solid A minus for this show as well. Let's see here. I can't believe Big Cass passed out. If anything, he should have gotten out like Reigns did. Joe put Brian to sleep. Hopefully it's better than Backlash was. Oh, definitely. Joe said he would put him to sleep, enjoy his promos. Oh, definitely. And apparently Jason Jordan is coming back to form American Alpha 2.0. I mean, I'd be all right that, but it would just throw out the continuity already of what we had before. Jason Jordan needs to be coming back as a heel, though. And Curtis is going to manage Gable and Jordan. That's strange. You can tell whoever voted for Raw doesn't know wrestling well. Probably Road Dogg voted for Raw. Gable, Jordan, Benjamin as a faction managed by Angle would be great to see. That honestly would not have been a bad idea if they would have kept Chad as a heel. Dakota said he meant Brian. I pretty much figured so. But yeah, guys, Dakota and Tia Couponer, thank you for joining me in the live chat. As always, we went a little off track there with the Mandy Rose stuff. And again, I'm sorry this review was kind of rushed and a little bit late. Again, I just went out for the night to hang out with some of the boys. But again, this week's episode of SmackDown Live an A minus. I'll catch 205 Live probably tomorrow because I'm kind of tired. I'll catch 205 Live though tomorrow morning, and then I'll review it. And then also I'll review NXT tomorrow night as well. Also look forward to seeing what takes place on that show as well, especially what we got at the end of the show last week with Ciampa, Gargano, and Candice. So that should be very good stuff there. But yeah, so thank you again, Dakota and Tia Couponer for joining me in the live chat. What grade is this week's episode of SmackDown Live? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below as always. And be sure to click my like and subscribe or content coverage channel. Follow me on Twitter as well with the Man Everybody 3. Again, I think I'm at 899 subscribers now. So guys, one more subscriber and we just get to 900. And then after that, it's the home stretch, that big goal of 1,000. I hope to eventually get to someday. So guys, thank you again for tuning in. I'm signing out. See you guys tomorrow for a 205 Live review and an NXT review later on tonight. And I will be doing a special live stream still on Thursday. I'm still trying to map out, my answers to this top 10. But this is going to be, again, this top 10 list I'm going to be doing on Thursday is definitely very challenging. And it's very, biased and opinionated towards yourself as well, pretty much. So I definitely will be interested to hear, what everybody else comes up with, whoever joins me Thursday for my special live stream. So I'll leave it to them to let you guys know what it is. But guys, that's it. I'm checking out. I'm tired. So tell you guys, have a great night and peace out, everybody.